Cool. Well, welcome everyone. Happy, what day is it today? Wednesday. I put this together pretty last minute, just in the last couple days, because I realized that in December, I set a pretty lofty goal for myself. And that was to generate an extra 10K on top of what I knew I would already be bringing in. And it's not that money motivates me all the time, but sometimes there is power in having a financial goal, or really any goal that you can attach a number to, or attach a monetary value to, or maybe it's a number of clients that you want to serve, or a number of blog posts you want to put out. And at the beginning of December, I made a decision and I thought, you know what? I have this lofty goal. I wonder what would be possible if, I'm just going to mute everyone. I wonder what would be possible if I set this goal for myself. And so I wrote it down on paper, and every day in December, I kept thinking, all right, am I really going to take action on this? What am I actually doing to achieve this quote unquote lofty goal that I've set myself? And it wasn't until about the final week of December, so just past Christmas, before New Year's, that I said, you know what, I'm going all in on this. And I had recently started working with a new business coach, and we had been generating ideas together. So I had my notebook full of ideas, and I'm like, God, like there's so much that I could be doing, but I just felt this rush of overwhelm. But it was in the days after Christmas that I said, what the heck? Like, I've been working so hard all year. I want to round out this year on a high note. And I just knew, I had this inner gut feeling that if I set my mind to something, I would 1000% be able to achieve it. So my goal ended up being, you know what? I want to close, in my case, it was 5 clients, and generate an extra 10K in the remainder of 2020. And what ended up happening was that I achieved that goal about 5 or 6 days into January. So it ended up being about a 2-week time period. But I just had this weird rush of emotion that was like, all it takes is really getting clear on what your goal is, how many people you want to serve, and being so committed to that goal that nothing can derail you. Granted, I did get sick during this time. So is it healthy to go this intense on a goal? Maybe not. Maybe I didn't have balance during this 2-week time period. But oftentimes when you do have this burning desire in your heart, it's not always possible to achieve that balance when you're going strong for momentum, and really pushing the boundaries on what you know is possible. And so anyways, all this to say, like, yes, an income goal, kind of silly, but that was what was driving me at the time. But I learned a lot of lessons, and I also generated a ton of ideas that I decided I wanted to share with only people who I had worked with in the past. So my past clients and students, so everyone on this call today, because this is stuff that I know it works, and it's not like they are the most innovative secrets in the world, but I tried them, they're true, and I want to pass along the good vibes to you guys, because I know it's possible. So that's what we're here to do tonight. I don't want to take more than about 30, 40 minutes of your time, but if you do have questions at the end, I'm more than happy to be super transparent about this whole process with you, in case that you're feeling the same way I was and you want to make January, or maybe it's February, that month, that you go all in on your business and whatever that goal is, whether it's people you serve or dollar amount that you bring in. So that's what we will focus on today. I know most of you have a great offer. You've assembled that in some way, shape, or form over the past few years. You have an audience to sell to. Even if you think, well, Kels, I have not started my mailing list yet, or my Instagram following is small, you have some sort of audience, whether it's the people you've met over the last 5 years, it's the colleagues you have at your current job, it's the people who have reached out to you when you Instagram story who say, oh, that's so cool. Like, I was making the same thing for dinner. There's somebody in your audience. I know there is. So that means you have people to sell to. Now you need to get a little bit more strategic in what strategies you're applying to convert these people, your audience, into your offer, right? And that is where the fortune lies. It's in the conversion, right? But so many of us get hung up thinking that it's just going to magically happen. And it doesn't. I wish it did. I feel like my business would operate a whole lot more smoothly if people just found me and they just were like, yay, I'd love to hire you. But the truth is, oftentimes it takes nurturing and it takes strategy in order to convert people from a lead into a paying customer. So that's really what we're here to talk about tonight. But before we dive into the 10 strategies for you to make 10K in the next 10 days, which I do believe is possible, because obviously any of you, when you set your mind to something, you can crush some serious goals. But my reminder from my goal setting in December was that I need to be setting more specific, measurable goals in my business each and every single month. I don't know if anyone here on this call has ever had a network marketing business before, but a few years back, I actually had a network marketing business. And in order to get your paycheck and to hit ranks where I would get paid out from that business, I had to bring in a certain volume amount of product that I would sell through to my customers, right? And I would get the commissions off of that product. And so every month on the 30th of the month, I would be checking how much product have I sold, and I would be striving to meet certain brackets of dollar amount sold so that I could hit the payout goal that I had. All this to say that when I had this business and when I was very committed to it, I had goals in my head every single day of the month for how much money I wanted to see coming through my business. And then when I started my own business and got into doing my coaching programs and my online course, I kind of lost that for a bit. And I stopped setting these very measurable targets for myself. And therefore, the payout was a little bit unpredictable. And I didn't have that really intense energy at the end of the month saying, well, shoot, I'm a little bit short. I should probably work on closing a little bit more product or selling more of my services. So this past December, the month when I set out to achieve that extra 10K on top of my usual income, I was reminded of how dedicated I was when I had this network marketing business, of knowing what income bracket I wanted to hit and then doing everything in my power to achieve it. And so I just want to remind you that as business owners, whether you're just starting out or whether you've been doing this for a while, and maybe you already do this, but it is vital that you take time at the beginning of each month to reflect on what you want to bring into your business that month. Because when we start to visualize something, it's like the story I always tell. You've probably heard me say this like 30,000 times, but it's the story of Jim Carrey, who many of you know from all of his famous movies, Dumb and Dumber, The Mask. When he was in the early stages of being an actor and a comedian, he was really manifesting and visualizing his success. He knew he had something good going on for him, but he wasn't bringing in any money. He was living in LA, broke as shit. And what he did was he wrote himself that $10 million check. And he said, I'm going to have this by Thanksgiving 2009 or whatever the case was. And sure enough, that month, Thanksgiving 2009, is when he signed Dumb and Dumber for $10 million. And he went on the Oprah show and really attributed that to setting that goal and then visualizing it every day, having that check on his bulletin board. And for me, it was the same thing. It was like I wrote down that goal at the beginning of the month, and then I was reminded of it every day. And then in that last week, I was like, oh yeah, I know what I want. Now I just have to go after it. So again, really important to take that time for yourself. And if you come to the end of the month, really reflect on what else can you pull out of the bag to make this goal happen. Because when you have that desire to achieve the goal and you've written it out and you have a deadline, it becomes real and you put in that extra effort in order to achieve it. So for tonight, again, I'm going to keep this pretty short. Hopefully it won't ramble on forever. But I want you to feel equipped with some simple strategies to boost your revenue and impact this month. One of the biggest learnings for me was that what I had been talking about with my business coach in November, I needed to apply it in December. It was not something I needed to sit on and think about. I needed to get into freaking action. And that's really what drove me to, go all in December. Of course, there are no magic pills. Like, I'm not going to share anything that's going to be the secret to transforming your business. But it hopefully will encourage you to think outside of the box that you're already have put yourself in, and to realize there are many ways to generate more money. And of course, I just want you to achieve your full visionary potential. So before I share the 10 strategies that I've thrown together, of course, there are many more ways to grow your business, but I want to share 3 simple laws. And if you follow a guy named Jay Abraham, you've probably already heard of these 3 simple laws. But his whole philosophy is that growing your revenue base as a business owner, it's not that complicated, okay? That doesn't mean it's easy, but it is a very simple concept. And I want to explain those 3 things to you because it always reminds me when I'm feeling overwhelmed, like, how the heck am I going to do this? It's a reminder to me that actually things aren't so challenging. You just need to think of these 3 simple laws of growing your service-based business. And I know most of you on here are service-based business owners. So here we go, guys. This is the simplicity of it. To make more money and to grow your business and your impact, you can either decide to focus on increasing your number of clients, okay? You could go out in your city, or you can go to the online world and look for more people. That's going to bring you more money. You could increase the number of transactions. So you could actually look to your current client base and external clients and start selling people more things, right? Maybe you introduce a second offer, or you resell them your first offer, or you launch a group program and you bring 30 people into a program at once. So you're actually just getting more transactions, selling more things, adding more offers to your roster. So you could think about that. The third way would be to increase the dollar amount of your transactions. So really that is boosting your prices and selling what you're currently selling for more money. So you're making more money off of those transactions. So when it all comes down to it, those are the 3 laws of how you can technically grow your business. So everything I share with you tonight is going to apply to one of these laws. Now, if you're kind of like, I don't really know where I fit on this spectrum, if you are not maxed out for clients, okay? I know some of you have a wait list going. Some of you cannot take on more people. That's amazing. But if you still can take on more people, or if you only have like 0, 1, 2 clients right now, your focus is getting more clients. That should be your number 1 goal, taking up 75% of the time you have working on your business. Because without clients, you don't need to be doing all the other back-end stuff. So that would be your focus. If you already have a lot of clients and you're pretty much maxed out, then you may want to focus on adding in more offers to make extra transactions. So that can be either selling another product to your existing clientele, or you can actually launch something that's a one-to-many model. So for example, that would be like a group coaching program or like a digital download where you can get more transactions coming through because you're already full with your clients. And for all of us, we may want to think at some point when you don't feel like you're being valued as much as you'd like to be, you may want to think about increasing the dollar amount of each transaction. So raising your prices. And I always say, if somebody buys your offer and you think, kind of got ripped off there, then you need to raise your prices. And if you sell someone something and you think, oh God, how can I possibly deliver something that's going to meet their needs? Like, did I rip them off? Then your prices are too high. You want to find that middle ground where you have valued yourself at a point where you sell something and you say, God, that feels good. I got compensated and I know I'm giving them the best possible offer for a really fair price, okay? But if you're not there yet, then keep raising and get yourself to a point where you do feel like you're being compensated. All right, so let's go into strategy number 1. And I mean, this is kind of silly that I'm sharing with this with some of you because I probably have used this on you before. So you might be laughing right now, but then you maybe know that it works. So strategy number 1 for generating an extra 10K in the next 10 days, use the 9-word email. And if you haven't heard of this before, it is like the classic like marketing from the 90s, how to convert more prospects into paying clients. And it literally is what it says. It's a 9-word email. And all you have to say is people who have ever expressed interest in your business, because most of them, they'll say, yeah, I want to work with you. And then they'll just flutter off into the universe and then they'll never, ever actually pay for your service. What you're going to do is you're going to think of who these people are, who has expressed interest in your offer, and then you're going to write them an email. And in the subject line, it's going to say their name. So it might say Christine. And then in the body of the email, it's going to say, hey, Christine, are you still interested in business coaching? Are you still interested in nutrition coaching? And then it's going to say, cheers, Kelsey. And the whole psychology behind this email is, well, number 1, I like it because it's simple. And I'm not trying to like overcomplicate my email marketing. I don't want to confuse people and overwhelm them with like big paragraphs, which we all have done before. Like, oh my gosh, I have this program starting. You've lost them. So sending these, it's simple enough that people, when they read that, they're either going to respond with a yes, or they'll respond with a no, or there's a small chance they won't respond at all. But for the most part, I would say I get like an 80-85% response rate on this. So this is my system. If somebody expresses interest in joining the Visionary Method or being a private client, and then they drop off, I send them this email or I DM them this on Instagram. Hey, name, are you still interested in this offer? Okay. And as we know, the fortune is in the follow-up. I think I learned that from literally my first day in university taking a business program. So I just want to remind you guys that as awkward as it can feel to follow up with people who, you know, clearly it's not their priority to give you money, you have to follow up because that is where your business lies. So this is one that I want you to keep in mind, the 9-word email. And you can, I mean, look this up online and read more about it, but truthfully, I like it for its simplicity. Number 2, this is a strategy that I pulled out in late November, early December, when I set my goal of 10K. And that is to adopt a day rate. So what I essentially did was I packaged up 8 hours of working with me into one beautiful package where I could devote my time and energy and effort to nurturing someone else's business for an entire day. And essentially, this is just taking my core offer, which is business coaching, the Visionary Method, and condensing it down into one awesome day. And so if you've never thought about doing this, I want you to consider it because I've had 4 people take advantage of my VIP or day rate, which I charge $900 for. I had 4 people take advantage of it in December, right? So that would have been $4,000 that I missed out on if I had not introduced VIP days. And I love them. I really like the ability to sit down with someone and give them my full focus for a long attention span. But there are many ways you could do this. You could do half days. You could call them strategy sessions, red carpet days, like really impress the person, charge them, but then be there for them. So I want you to think about how you can add a VIP day or a day rate, because there are people who would like to download all of your knowledge in a very short amount of time, okay? So I didn't make this up. I actually learned it from another coach. or actually just someone I think I follow online. And I just thought, what the heck, let me just try it. And I was shocked at the amount of people who I was able to convert into this. Granted, like it is something that I feel very strongly about. So I didn't just add it like for the money, but I do think it's a valuable service that a lot of you on this call could introduce. So think about how you can add that into your strategy. Okay, another way to make 10K in 10 days is to raise your prices. So this one is kind of obvious, and I felt, a little bit bad throwing it in there, but I truly think that many of us are undervaluing our services. And as service providers, it can be challenging to meet our annual income goals selling small little packages, right? Because you have to sell a lot of them. You have to find a lot of clientele in order to maybe meet or exceed the salary that you had set out for yourself. So you may want to consider raising those prices. And not just that, but thinking, how can I give more value? So can I offer unlimited text messaging support? Can I add in monthly Q&A calls with me? What is it that you can do to feel more confident in the fact that you can raise your prices, right? So I remember in my early days of business, I was always scared of charging the price I wanted to charge. And my mentor would just say, don't keep your prices as is, just make your offer more valuable to the point where you feel super confident charging those prices. And I really had to just build my own belief in the transformation that I was able to provide. And that helped encourage me to realize, okay, I can charge this. I can charge a premium because I'm very available for my clients. I'm always there for them, and I respond to their emails in a timely manner. So again, think about how you could maybe do that, because that is an easy way to bring in an extra chunk of money each month, is just to simply raise your rates. And at this point, I like to raise my rates every 6 to 7 private clients that I get. It seems like a good system for me. It ends up being maybe every 3 to 4 months. Okay, strategy number 4, encourage referrals. 50 to 70% of your business could be coming from referrals as a service provider, because that's often how we get our next client, is a referral, a word of mouth, somebody who spoke highly of us. So if you don't have an official strategy around this, you're kind of missing out. You're leaving it to chance, and you can't just leave referrals to chance. There needs to be some sort of system in place so that people are talking about you. So that can look a lot of different ways. I mean, number 1, you could reach out right now, tomorrow, to all of your past clients or to people in your community and just say, hey, so-and-so, this is what I'm currently focused on. I just launched this amazing, 30-day lifestyle cleanse program. I am wondering, do you know anyone who might be interested in this? Okay, I know that feels awkward, but it's being straight up, and it's asking for a referral, asking for a connection. And I guarantee you'll have people who say, actually, yeah, why don't you meet my friend Sarah? She's a new mom, and she's been wanting to learn more about nutrition and health for her family. And then all of a sudden, Sarah, and Sarah's going to connect you with someone. Okay, so that's an option. Number 2 is to actually incentivize people for sharing. So running a campaign around the fact that if somebody refers you a client, they get some sort of bonus. They get some of the profit from what the person bought. So maybe your network can share that you get $50 off if you sign up for Abby's program. And if someone uses that code, then you also get $50 as a thank you, right? So encouraging, there's lots of formal referral programs, but you could actually just make one up on your own and incentivize people to share your program because they get something in return. And then the other piece of that would just be to make your content more shareable, right? So if you're working with a client, how are you encouraging them to talk about you? If you're creating content for social media, what is shareable about that so that people can kind of refer you informally by sharing what you're posting. The sign of the most amazing businesses, and when you feel, or when your brand will really feel like it's official and you've arrived, is when you start to have people direct messaging you or tagging you saying, hey, you should meet Jerry. Jerry's all about this. And they start thinking about you when they meet other people. So maybe I'm not explaining that so well, but the biggest compliment I can get is when someone comes up to me and they're like, hey, so I met this girl, her name is Anne, and I just feel like she's a visionary. You should meet her. Okay. That's a referral, right? That is coming to a place where you've worked so hard on your brand and your brand messaging that people are actually putting others in front of you because they think, hey, this person aligns with your messaging. You should meet them. Oh, hey, I met this person on the street. They talk about the same things you do. You should meet them, right? And that comes with time, you guys. With frequency and consistency in your messaging, you're going to start to develop that tribe. And that can be really invaluable for you in getting clients. So hopefully that inspires you to just really stand strong in your messaging and know who you're serving. All right, strategy number 5 for generating your extra money: host a masterclass or a mini course, okay? You all have incredible offers that I know you could take a small chunk of it and turn it into a $100, $200, $300 masterclass. So it could be like a 1-hour thing on a Wednesday night that you charge for. It could be a 4-week mini coaching series where you meet with a small group who sign up every Monday night at 8 p.m. for 4 weeks. And it's an accelerated transformation program, right? So maybe you take your big program, maybe your big program is like a 90-day, like learn how to overhaul your diet and become plant-based. So maybe you think, you know what, I'm not ready for that, but why don't I do a mini course, or why don't I add on a mini course that's called Plant-Based in 4 weeks? And each week you show them how to, adopt the plant-based lifestyle, whatever. Make it into something small, or do a 2-hour plant-based in a night, teaching them everything they need to know about overhauling their fridge and prepping meals for the whole family that are plant-based. So what can you do? What's a how-to? What's a Q&A type style masterclass you can do? What's a really focused topic that people keep asking you about? And then put a price tag on it, because if you're going to give them value and maybe equip them with a workbook or a call with you afterwards, you can charge money for that. So that's a great way to hit those last minute income goals. I know I was listening to someone's podcast. I think it was Amy Porterfield. And I think she randomly at the end of November was like, I'm just going to throw in this 2-hour 2020 planning session, and ended up making like $1 million from it. I mean, granted, her audience is much bigger, but that to her was a mini masterclass that she just threw together. She charged $350 for it. And all it was 2 hours. Okay. And just knowing that people wanted that at the time, end of November, right? Everyone's thinking, I got a plan for 2020. So what can you hit on that's a theme of the month, or something that people are really desiring right now that you could offer? All right, this one, I didn't really know what to call it, but I think it makes sense. Do you want fries with that? So think about, do you have an upsell to your existing offer, or could you offer an upsell to your offer? So the way I think of this is like when you go buy an iPhone and then they sell you Apple Care, okay? You bought something and then they're really asking you, like, do you want fries with that? Do you want this Apple Care? I saw this thing that said, it's an article. It said Apple's new $20 billion business, and it's providing services like Apple Care, okay? They are geniuses. They've decided to basically ask people if they want fries with their iPhone. And they're offering all these additional services now that they're generating an extra $20 billion per year by just getting these little extras tacked on to people's existing services. So that's a learning opportunity for us, right? If Apple's one of the most successful companies in the world and they're upselling people with an extra service or with an extra peace of mind, we can do the same, right? Maybe you sell something like unlimited text messaging support for an extra $4 a month. Or I know a girl who she builds people's WordPress websites, and then for $250 a month, she'll help you with like the back end. And if you ever have troubles and if you need her to log in and create your blog or something, like really, do I think it's worth $250 a month? I'm not sure, but people are paying that, and it's an upsell because they want to feel supported. So maybe there's some ways that you can do that. Or why not have multiple versions of your package? So if you offer 1 month of wellness coaching, maybe that's your low end. And then the second package is a month of wellness coaching plus 6 months of follow-up support plus a 90-day meal plan. And then maybe there's a third tier that's the wellness coaching, the 12 months of follow-up, and then 120 recipes in a meal plan. So do you see how like there's like these little upsells, and it makes people think, well, I kind of want the big one, but maybe I'll just go with the middle one instead. They'll never go for the lowest one. Just kind of the way it works. All right, the 7th strategy, again, nothing revolutionary, but it's always a good reminder to me. You want to make more money, be more valuable, okay? Look at your past content calendar. So for this month so far, have you been showing up, giving value, and offering really freaking awesome information through your different marketing efforts? So for some of you, it's on social media. For some of you, it's on your blog, your podcast, your email marketing, at your workshops. If you're not making the money you want to, and if you want to bring in a whole slew of extra clients, then think about the consistency and the quality of the content you've been sharing. And if it's been mediocre, then you really only deserve that mediocre income and influx of clients. So show up in a bigger, bolder, brighter light. Honestly, that's what you have to do. People are attracted to those who are polarizing, who show up and who are very clear saying, you either like me or you don't. Here's my vision. Here's what I stand for. Like, choose to follow along or not. And I'm really trying to work on this. It's hard, but I see the people who are really doing well, especially on social and in online marketing, and they have a vision and they know who they're for and they know who they're not. So I would say that's a big tip and a reminder to us if you're looking to just really attract that audience and get people magnetic to you. And then on that note too, there's a possibility of joining a site like Patreon. A good friend of mine is an author. She doesn't have an online following at all. She doesn't do a lot of marketing efforts, but she does have a small community of people who support her on Patreon, which is just an online platform for creatives, for entrepreneurs, for artists. And if you're doing good work in the world, people will support you with a financial donation on a monthly basis. And you give them something of value in return. Maybe it's a monthly coaching session. Maybe it's a monthly downloadable recipe guide, whatever. There's so many options, but with Patreon, you do have an option to have people support your business. And if you're giving really good value, you can absolutely build a tribe of people who will pay for that. So definitely look into it and consider it. I'm still learning more about it myself, but knowing the friend of mine who's on it and who's making a pretty decent chunk of money each month from people she's never met before. So cool. And I'm happy to share more about that if you're ever interested. There's a Jim Rohn quote that he says, service providers get paid by bringing more value to the marketplace. That really speaks volumes to what we all do, right? The more value we provide, the more income we generate. So I wanted to put this one in there because it is kind of vital. Number 8 is to use your voice. The amount of people that I have converted, and I'm sorry if this was you, converted into clients of mine by sending them voice notes. I send everybody a voice note after I talk to them for the very first time. If I'm following up with someone, I send them a voice note. I really like the power of a voice note. So think about how you can include that in your conversion strategy. They say that 85% of the value of the 100 leads, so if you were to generate 100 leads today, for example, 85% of those people are 90 days away or more from actually buying from you. And here we all are thinking that if a person disappears after they express interest, that we should just let them flutter away. Yet 85% of people won't buy until the 90-day or later mark. So this is the power of using something like a voice note to follow up with people who you haven't heard from in 90 days, okay? Keep in touch, send them a thinking of you personalized message. Look at their most recent Instagram post and say something nice to them about it. Say, oh my God, that hike looks amazing. Or, oh, I also made something similar for dinner. Or, oh my gosh, the redesign of your bedroom looks phenomenal. Who helped you with it? Like, get into conversation, use the voice note to do that. I had a couple good experiences. I've been using voice notes for a while, but recently, like a couple people who have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers online who I sent a DM to, just being like, oh, cool, that sounds awesome. They voice noted me back. And I'm like, what? How do you have the time to do this? And hearing their voice, hearing them say, hey, Kelsey, oh my gosh, so great. I'm glad you really loved that post, or whatever the case was. I was floored because these are people who I deeply admire. And here they are finding the time to send personalized voice notes. And then one of the other people that I follow, they had a team of people sending voice notes. So it was through his Instagram account, but it was one of his assistants saying, hey, Kelsey, we're so glad you liked his talk, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, I'm a firm believer that there's a lot of power in the spoken word. So how can you use your voice to include a little bit more personalized marketing in your strategy? I'm going to take a drink. Okay, strategy number 9. This one works like a charm. And I can give you the breakdown of my numbers here, but I know this one is going to be big for you guys if you take advantage of it. Get chatty on Facebook. And if you hate Facebook, I'm sorry, you're going to have to rule this one out. But if you're okay with using it to your advantage, this one's good. So as you guys know, there are thousands of pre-existing groups or communities where you can establish relationships with future clients, okay? People have opted into groups called Busy Mamas, or designers living in Atlanta, or people going plant-based, or millennials going plant-based, whatever the case is. They've opted into groups that tell you exactly who they are and what they like. So if you can go join those groups, start engaging with the community, act like you're trying to make new friends, and hopefully be honest about it, like enjoy the content, comment on people's posts. Then if somebody says something interesting or that you feel like you can provide value to, send them a direct message, okay? You have an opportunity to slide into this person's inbox, build a relationship with them, maybe share a free piece of content you created that could help them, and all of a sudden you have a relationship. Add them on Facebook as a friend, like do something to stay connected, right? I used to think this was completely creepy. I think like 8 years ago, I was working at a gym and I was sitting at the front desk, and this guy came in and he was like, oh, hey, nice to meet you, da, da, da. And then as he left his spin class, he was like, hey, what's your first name? I'm going to add you on Facebook. And I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. But then all of a sudden I get a request from him a couple hours later. He adds me and he ends up being my employer at my future career. And it just really opened my eyes to why the heck not connect with people on Facebook, because you just never know where that relationship is going to lead. And Facebook is a powerful tool for getting to know someone. I never would have had my dream job if it wasn't for him fostering that connection through Facebook with me. You know, that's a totally different situation. But our lesson from that is that Facebook is a powerful place to build community. So why not go join a pre-existing community and start making friends, start adding value, start treating it as your networking. If you're not out at networking events once a month, you better be doing something like this. And like reminder there, don't be spammy, because people don't go onto Facebook to see ads or spam. They go on to just pass the time, ask questions, share silly memes. So, find a strategy that works for you, but be real with your approach. And I have gotten a lot of clients meeting them on Facebook. I would say about 20% of people who hire me find me through Facebook. They usually click through, if they've seen me commenting in a group, they click on my profile photo, they click over to my profile, and then they end up on my website, because my website is linked on my personal profile. Okay, so it's like this kind of like click through effect. And then they're like, oh, how did I get to this person's website? But that's kind of the method. And pillar number 10, or strategy number 10, is to productize your service. And I know you can all do this quite easily, but many of you probably haven't yet. And that's okay, because maybe you're focused on launching your service. But if you are a service provider, think about how you can capture that content, capture the knowledge in your head, capture your superpowers, and put it into a shoppable offer that people can buy anytime, right? So that might be going through a remodeling checklist for a room in someone's home as an interior designer, and then selling that checklist plus a bonus design plan for $100. It might be recording yourself at home if you're a personal trainer doing a booty building workout. And then instead of, needing to be with people to train them, you sell that pre-recorded program. So we see people do this all the time. But really, you can turn any of your services into some sort of product or a digital download. Or maybe you record 5 Facebook Live videos and then you put them all into a concise document, add a coaching session, or add free recipes and actually sell it as a product. So really easy way to just boost your income. So I wouldn't suggest trying all 10 of these, but I have a feeling that maybe 1 or 2 of them resonated with you. I know in my case, it was really about going all in on those VIP days and sending the 9-word email. So those were the 2. I think there was a 3rd or 4th that I might have practiced. But when I thought about how I was going to hit this goal of generating the final 10K in the last 10 days of the year, it was those 2 strategies, and they worked really, really well. And that's because I know my audience too, right? I know what they wanted from me. And I also knew that I was sitting on a lot of people who I was like, I thought they had expressed interest in working with me. And then, I don't know, they just disappeared. So those were the 2 strategies that I took advantage of. And I just devoted some time and energy to like ensuring that I was available and following up and putting together an offer that I really felt passionate about for that day rate. And that was all it took. So obviously a lot of hard work going into that, but the strategy, it's pretty simple to dissect. So anyways, that is it. I really hope you got some ideas from this. I would love to hear about your ideas. So if you want to send me an email afterwards, or if you want to stay on and just share some quick thoughts with me, I'm more than happy to stay on for a bit. But other than that, thank you for spending a little time on your Wednesday night. And I'm always here to support all of you guys. If you ever have questions or just want to jam on any topics related to business, marketing, growth of your empires. So anyways, have an awesome night, and I'll stay on if anyone wants to unmute themselves. You're welcome, Jill. You're welcome, Laura. And Katie, thanks for coming.
Kelsey, can I ask you a question?
Hey, yes, you
Hi.
can. Hi.
First of all, thank you so much. When I got that in my inbox, I responded, and I'm so grateful that you did this. So thank
Oh,
you.
you're so welcome. Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. So I had a question about your VIP day. So would you like go into a little bit of detail about like what that looks like? And my thought process is sometimes when I do sometimes I'll do like, longer sessions with clients and they'll like towards the end of it, like I know they'll glaze over because it's just so much information. So
Yeah.
I guess like what are some of your strategies for that? And, I don't know, like I just get a little nervous about like filling an entire day or even a half day. Like, what does it look like?
Oh my gosh. So I definitely haven't had any problems like not filling the time. If anything, I feel bad because we put so much on our to-do list that we don't generally get around to everything. But I think I'm pretty clear in my messaging that it's for people who have like 2 to 3 pressing online marketing problems that they want solved in a day. So they're confused on how to set up their email marketing and what campaigns to send. They've never built a landing page and they really want to create an opt-in. So maybe it's those 3 things. And that literally takes all day to set up together, to get the automations going, to build the landing page, to build the freebie, and to create some campaigns for them. So yes, I understand it's a lot and people do glaze over, but I make sure that I am like full on for that day. Like I had one yesterday and I mean, I am like a zombie by the end of the day, but I make sure that I'm in peak condition, like revving their engine. I'm chatty, I'm fun. We take a lunch break together that I pay for. I have snacks and I really try to make them just realize how fun it can be to get so much done in a day. So I'm kind of being a cheerleader and it's hard work, but and I have had people, so I had a guy purchase it at the end of December and he was like, can I split this into 2 sessions? So we're actually doing 2 3.5-hour sessions. So in the first session, we worked on his like social media campaign for his podcast. When I meet with him again, it's going to be more about like the ongoing maintenance and creating custom graphics. So we just have a plan. And then the other thing I would say is if somebody inquires about it, you ask them, what do you hope to have accomplished having me as your person for a day? And we're going to like get to darn work. Then you have a list, you make a schedule and say, okay, so that's great. I'm glad we can totally accomplish this. From 10 to 12, we would work on your opt-in. From 12 to 1, we would work on your MailChimp campaign. From 1 to 2, we're going to take a break. So show them like, this is how long it's going to take and paint them a clear picture of like, yeah, what it is that you're going to do in your time together and then give them all your energy.
Awesome.
But
Thank
yeah,
you.
you definitely have potential to add that as an offering, but think like, how could you modify it in a way that makes more sense for what you do? And maybe it's not so overwhelming, like an 8-hour day. But
Right.
yeah, maybe there's something else that can be an immersive experience, or like I said, the red carpet experience where you spoil someone for a day, something of that nature.
I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? No? Christine, Laura, Katie, anyone want to? Questions, thoughts, ideas?
No question, but I feel like a lot of the things you mentioned here are things that I've been very excited to get started on, especially the whole creating multiple like purchasable things that you create and then they buy and then that's kind of it and you're done.
Yeah.
I'm finding with working full time and running my business on the side, I don't have a lot of room to take on clients on the side. So that's definitely something I'm excited to get. And it's just, yeah, taking the action and getting it complete. But yeah, I had a lot of notes going on the side of things that would pop up like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. And so I found it very, very helpful.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. And I know it can be a lot of work to productize your service because that's like creating a whole new offer, right? And then being able to market that. But it's kind of the gift that keeps on giving, right?
Yeah.
And it's the upfront time that sucks, but it will provide a return on investment. You just need to nurture it a little bit and still drive sales towards it. So yeah,
Yeah.
big opportunity for you.
And then when you do it, you can come back to it a couple months or years later and fine tune it and tweak it. And then it's this whole new, revised thing, and you keep working on it and building it. I think that, yeah, the initial work to put into it is substantial, but then it's maintenance after that and making sure that things are, I guess, up to date after that. So yeah, I'm excited to attempt that.
Yeah, it's so true. And like, that's the thing. We probably all have resources or documents or notes that we've created that could easily be turned into an instant download for somebody, right? It's like you've taken this course and you have a booklet of notes. Like, what could you create easily that you could throw up for sale for, it could be a nominal amount, it could be a larger thing, but yeah, it's just finding the time and energy to actually make that a priority.
Yeah, I found this very helpful. So thank you.
Good. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad you could come.
Hey, Kelsey, can you hear me even though
I
my
Yes.
video is not working?
No,
It's
I
Sarah.
can hear you. Hey, Sarah.
Hey, it's not a question, but it's like a statement, I guess you could say. I'm kind of like the other girls. See, I have a VIP day, and I never really kind of forgot about it. I mean, people don't really
Bring it back.
they go more for the full service, but I have a VIP day, and so you just have me going on thinking about how I could market that more. So
Yes. Well, maybe we can chat about that together.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, I feel like so much potential for you to get that VIP day back, and even just you should get yourself re-excited about it. So maybe that's revamping it, maybe touching it up a little bit and adding in something quirky or fun. Because from my experience, people are loving this option if coaching is not right for them. And I'm really glad I added it because I can see it being something that I sell 2 of them a month and I cap it out at that and then have some sort of wait list going. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity to customize it to your unique business.
Mm-hmm. And I like the ability to like you said, cap it out at a certain amount of people a month, and kind of let people know that, because that also creates a sense of urgency with them. Sometimes it just depends on the client, but I'm excited about that, and we can talk about it more, but I'm excited about our meetings. Anyways.
Love it. I'm very excited too. I actually heard someone who did a VIP day. They do a 2-day VIP experience and they charge $5,000 for it. This is actually someone who is in my current business mastermind. So it's a $5,000 2-day business coaching experience. A limo comes to pick you up and you stay overnight in a hotel. Like, you get a hotel room by yourself. So this is all factored into the price, but you're basically treated like, an executive level CEO for 2 days. And it's for people who obviously are at like a higher bracket to pay that much. But how cool, right? To really take advantage of making this 2-day VIP experience like super memorable. So anyways, I just wanted to share that.
And that gets me going because I actually could do something like that.
Yeah.
With people going to High Point, cool. my High Point's for the other girls that don't know, I'm an interior designer, but High Point's like where everybody purchases stuff. And so usually you don't want to bring your clients there because it can be a nightmare. But if you have a nice price tag with it, it's fine.
Yeah.
So it's worth it. And you can, that.
So cool. Yeah. It's really about like knowing your audience too. And it would be such a cool experience to curate. Yeah. So fun. Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap this up because it's almost 9, but thanks to everyone who stayed on. And if you guys have any questions, just let me know.
Thanks. Bye.
You're welcome.